It's Wednesday. Hey guys, what's going on? Ryan, Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. You thought I was late? No, the only thing that's late is my pigeons, and then I do what they do. They come a bit late, I come a bit late. But it's okay. You got to always remember to respect the late ones because we might be late this race. That doesn't mean the next race or the race after, right? The whole season. So a little bit of lateness is okay. You know me, Ryan Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. That's the second time I've said it. The third time you're going to remember. I'm Ryan from the Feathers Elite Racing Pigeon Network. And tonight's, again, it's Wednesdays. We talk about one Loft racing, right? And, well, you know what I'm about to say next. I brought you to the best, to the mountaintop, eh? And isn't it funny? They're in San Diego where the mountains are. It is. It's kind of crazy, isn't it? Anyways, enough of this shit. Remember, no swearing tonight. Anytime someone swears, $25 goes in the jar. So, guys, please like, please share, please subscribe. I'm going to bring on the man, the myth, the legend, Johnny T. That's John Timmerman from the California Classic and the Royal Cup. We're going to go there in about 5 seconds. So just listen for the song, push the like button. If you get mad, you want to throw stuff at us, put your comments as ventilation. You can vent. If you want to talk other things than pigeons, go ahead. Vent. It's okay. We all have good days. We all have bad days. And I think today people are having some bad days. I'm having a great day. I'm just saying, if you're having a bad one, you can ventilate to us. We're here for you. Like, share, and subscribe. All right, let's go. Let's start talking one Loft racing. Okay, here we go. One Loft Wednesdays. And we're just going to get into it now. 3, 2, 1. Are you ready? I'm going to cut it right now. There it is. There's the guy in the blue, Johnny Timmerman from California Classic, the World Cup. Happy Wednesday to you, my friends. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing well, Ryan. How are you, dude?
Oh, another day. Another day. Yeah, another day, another Wednesday. Man, the weeks just they fly by, don't they?
Dude, it's good. It's going so fast. It's crazy. Can't wait for it to snow.
No, I remember when I was a little kid, the summertime, it like took forever to get to summer, and now it's like every day. I don't even. It's like a blink and it's over, blink and it's over, blink and it's over. Pretty soon I'm going to be in a wheelchair. I mean, one of those. You and me are going to be like those real old guys. We're going to be the old guys that we talk about.
Hey, every day there's every week there's somebody that's there's a situation, and it's pretty sad, but it's true.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say hi to everyone. Please, guys, post your comments in. Like I said, this show really does work when you guys ask your questions. Think outside the box. Fire your questions in. Again, John is here, and I am here to help you answer. We're going to agree to disagree on some things. We're going to agree on some things, and we're going to disagree on some things. And you're going to feel the same way, and that's okay. This is kind of like a one Loft pigeon club. If there could be one, this is what this is. Again, guys, the Chase EA's competition. We got till Sunday. I think we've got 35 teams signed up. I want to try and get to 50. We're going to help out Marcel Kurtelman's rebuild his loft after not a nice person burnt his loft down, but you guys got to help me on that. I can't do it. I will give you my team that I'm going to pick for fun. I'm not going to win nothing. For fun, we're going to pick, and you can see what we pick. I'm going to do a show on that. And again, our pick birds for race number 17 are up on our website, featherselitepigeonauctions.com. Get in your pick birds for race number 17. Let's see if we can get a win here. We've had 2 seconds in a row. Seconds are really, I hate seconds. I'd rather have like, I think a third and a fourth than a second. Second by seconds is the worst. I mean, it's bad. I hate seconds, John. I really hate them.
Oh, nobody remembers second. You're right.
Thanks, John.
But then,
Thank
hey, your performance and consistency is still outstanding. So that
Yeah,
matters.
it's like, man, you trip on a set like just a 1 second, 2 seconds. Oh, grr, pull your hair out. But hey, you know what? That's what makes this game so much fun. That's what's great about pigeon racing. You know, John, getting to that, I think of this, and I don't know what your thought. I mean, I think we've already talked, we've touched on this before. But again, this trapping, this clocking order. I always say, like, the race is over. It's the first bird to cross that line. I mean, the Olympics is the same, horse racing is the same, but pigeon racing and one lofting, it's bittersweet. I know people, everyone wants to keep everyone happy and equals and that, but isn't it sometimes? Don't you kind of laugh at yourself? Like, I mean, you run one, so you have to keep everyone happy, but don't you sometimes just go like, God, wouldn't it be nice to just have one winner? Like first is first and
Oh yeah.
second is
Yeah. Well,
second.
I mean, I've been down that road. I've tried it actually I believe on the 350. And you're 100% right. It is a lot easier if you could just do it that way. But here in the States, there's so many people that do appreciate, by the drop. And really, I mean, shit, you got a big prize and you got 5 bird drop, 4 bird drop. And it's, if you go by the clock, one guy makes big bucks and the other one just gets a handshake. I could understand. So it is much nicer for the breeders to spread it around, instead of making it top heavy. You know, believe you me, I mean it is great though if you're out front or if you're the first one through the hole. But you're 100% right. Splitting it up is much better.
Yeah, it's so funny how it's really become this, and it's almost like if you don't do it, like if you decide to go blocking order and you're a guy trying to run a one-off race, you really hurt your race. I find you hurt it because I think a lot of people, I don't know if they can take it because it's painful. It is painful when you see 10 birds come together and one bird takes it by point of a second. It's like, oh, and that's what I mean. Like we feel here where we're racing. Like you look and you go, God, we did everything right. Everything was there, and we get beat out by a half a second. A guy a kilometer away. Yeah, but hey, that's racing. So, oh, anyways, I know, and I think the hard part is too with you, for instance, you have to use those drop chips, and I mean, sometimes you got to be a. Is it a bad guy? Would you call it? You gotta put the drop chip down, and there's always somebody complaining. Oh, that's my bird, or you know what I mean, something like that. Am I
Oh, dude,
right?
I've been through it many times. And I mean, as a loft manager, you're the referee, and uh, I mean, I've had times 2 birds out front, and then one drops, the other one doesn't drop, and then all of a sudden one out of the sky hits the board and traps, and well, that's it. You call the race. You call the drop. The rule is on a drop is you have 3 birds and 2 come down, one stays in the sky. If another flock comes, in contact, that's it. You chip down, and the first 2 birds are in the clock. That's how it works. And if no birds are on the clock yet, the race still stays open. Doesn't matter if one comes and sits on the roof. I mean, there's nobody on the clock yet.
Right. Well, and I get it, and I mean I understand it, and
But
I'm
but here's the deal. When you're in that situation, for all the loft managers, I mean, their heads are, like I've always said, they're not there to do anybody wrong. They're just doing their job, and somebody's going to get hurt no matter how you look at it. But in the end, you're keeping the ethics of the race, and a drop is a drop. But I've had it in the past. I mean, a 6 bird drop, and nobody's there for the race except 25, 30 guys. This is for the second win, and it was actually my friend John Stevens. His was the last bird, 6 bird through the trap, and he got $1,000, and the other guys the other guy's got more. And he said, he was he was swearing up a storm. So
John, run, run. No, no. Hey, listen.
uh,
You know who it is. It's the work for the, and people don't realize this. You put in the rules, okay, and you know what it all looks like. But it doesn't matter if you're in your yard there or at your loft, and there's 10 guys or there's 150 guys. When those pigeons come over, you and I know it. For some reason, I always find people put this pressure out. We release it, and you can see, I don't know why, sometimes the birds pick up on it, and
yeah,
you say, oh, they trap every time, boom, boom, they trap good. All of a sudden today, oh man, the pigeon gods are against me. It's like everyone's so
yeah.
nervous or something happens, and they don't fire. Then you're the guy got to cut the drop off or do whatever. People are looking like, oh, you know what? He knew that was my blue bar. He cut it up. No, that's not what it is. It's just you, you're the good
It,
cop,
it's
bad
it,
cop.
it it's just pitching guys, their emotions. There's which says a lot for the race. They get excited. I mean, I've been there so many times, and like I've said, it doesn't matter if it's the weather or if it's birds staying in the sky or they hit the other side of the landing board. I mean, I've seen it pretty much all. And in the end, as a guy that's running the race, you just have to have thick skin and keep your cool. And you know, I don't want to say it is what it is, but in the end, it is what it is. You
Yeah.
just have to you as a handler, you just make sure that you have your droppers and you have your team, whatever that may be, to call those pigeons in, and you're always working at it. That's all you can do.
All right.
They are animals, and every day, every race, one day might be no wind. I've had races where it's blowing 10, 15 miles and the birds are fast, and you got to get them down. That's just, there is no clocking order. It goes by you're going by the drop, first drop.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I want to say hi to a few people. Hendrik Craig says,
Hendrick.
or Craig says, good evening, guys. Another exciting One Love Wednesday. Hey, we don't make it exciting. You guys got to put some more comments in. If you're watching this, put some comments in. Help us out. Me and John can talk back and forth, but you guys make the show. On the Monday night show, the reason why it is good is because you people participate. You are the ones we need to participate. So stop being shy. Go and chase the ace for Marcel. Yes, thanks for putting your teams in, guys. If anyone, if you need help picking, the guy on the screen here, Craig, will help you pick a team. No problem. He helped John out. Thank you guys both for participating. Marcel's going to really appreciate it. I don't even think he has a clue what's going on. I tried to talk to him about it today. He just can't fathom people helping him out, which is going to be great. Going to be a good surprise. Uh, um, Great podcast. I learned a lot from you guys over the past couple of months. I really appreciate sharing your knowledge and your experience. Keep up the great work. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Keep your questions coming. Okay, John, here's a question. Do you think one off races should call the birds in or just let it be natural?
I think you got to call them in to a degree. I mean, if you're going by the clock, I mean, if you are just strictly going by the clock, then you let it be. You just let the birds do what they got to do. But if you got to drop, if you're going, 5 bird drop, and like in San Diego, sometimes it's, I know there's going to be birds right behind them, so you have to put the effort in to call them in, and you do the best you can, and majority of times we've done it right. Um, and I've listened to so many people talk, and most of the people that used to fly San Diego, they were from the past, and it's about handling. As a handler, I mean, it's changed now as far as these, 4 or 5 thousand bird races, and I think most of those are going by the clock. Um, so they don't have that. They don't have that stress. Let the chips fall the way they be. But you get into 1,000 bird, 1,500 pigeon bird race. Uh, if you're going by the trap first drop, then you got to do your best to get them in. And that's that's the bird did his job getting home. It's your job to finish touches with getting them to drop and go in.
Right. Now, do you think in the coming years, do you think majority of the races are going to switch to clocking order, or do you think the smaller ones will stay to the drop? The ones that have six, seven, eight, 9,000 are going to stay clocking order. What do you think there's going to be an evolution in that?
Well, I was looking actually today. Some of these races, 5,000, 6,000 birds plus. Um, they got huge prizes. So, in order to have that huge prize at the top, they're going to have to go by the clock. But, like I said a few months back, that these big races, I mean, I have 400 breeders that get upset if one bird's out front. They've got 1,000 plus breeders that'll be, upset. So it's just how you interpret and look at it. But I think we're in a school of people that really don't understand how the effort that goes into calling those birds in and trapping. I mean, that's just like you just mentioned. You're in competition. I mean, that's with a lot of these guys not racing. They don't understand how nobody remembers second. They only remember first. And if a five bird drop comes, they're all equal winners. And you want to give him notoriety. I mean, this guy right here, John Stevens, he's still bitching. I could feel him right now.
He says he doesn't swear. If we can get him to swear, we get some money in
Oh,
that
he
jar.
swears. Oh, he swears, dude. Believe
Hey,
you me, he's
hey,
bad.
listen. You're not a pigeon man, a real pigeon man. He's going to be cursing. Okay, this is what just they do. But nice to see you on, John. Brian says good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon to you. So again, we're getting to the drops or this clocking order. Like I just wonder, will everything evolve into that, or will it still say like
I
for
I I,
what do
I
you
believe
prefer?
I believe here in the States it will go by the drop because there's a lot of guys that like. I mean, you look at the races. They like the big numbers, and they all like to feel like a winner, and rightfully so. When you have a 20 bird drop, and one guy walks away with 100,000, and the 20th guy walks away with a pat on the back. It doesn't fly. It just doesn't fly, especially if those 20 birds are out front by a few minutes. That's an equal drop. It's an equal split.
I see the pros in it, and I see the cons in it, and I understand both. And again, hey, I have been on the first drop where I've been the first in the clock, and I've been where I'm the sixth in the clock, and it is great to win money. Do you think though? And this is just a question. Do you think that maybe all the races that do the drops, the first bird clock should get a $2,500 bonus or a $5,000 bonus or $1,000 bonus?
They've
You
done it.
think?
I mean, there's races that have that.
Okay. No, I
Yeah,
know.
no,
I'm trying to put it out there. But again, people are.
they're looking
Eh,
at you got to remember. I mean, the sport is getting more expensive. There's so many races, and you can't blame anybody. But when you pay by the drop, it's fair. You're giving everybody. I mean, on a one loft race, they're all coming to one loft, so it's equal. In your situation, racing over there with thousands, hundreds of lofts competing, that's that's a different situation. You're the handler. You got a 20 bird team, and you're going up against another guy with 20 birds, and that's no, that goes by by clock. But on a loft, that's just like a training toss. All those birds are equal, and that's why we go back to flying a little slower race, a little tougher race. That will separate pigeons.
yeah, I do find it always interesting. And I've got some questions here. Brian, you have a question. I'm going to get to your question here in a minute. Uh, it was amazing and I'll throw this out here. I think my first time first or second time playing one Loft races. I sent birds down to the Triple Crown and the Holiday Cup. I didn't even know about your race, okay? And it was in 2011. And I sent to the Holiday Cup. I sent two birds, and I sent them, John. You're gonna roll your eyes and say, "Boy, you were stupid." I sent them the last week of July. They were small.
Mhm.
And I had okay, and Ahmad, I didn't know what you guys were what you were up to, or what you were, I didn't know because it was sort of, it was starting to see it on the internet and start seeing stuff like that. But anyways, I started, and the birds were there. They were the youngest. It was the cutoff replacements, and I set my two birds in, and I had this hen in the training. I watch and the training. She's like first in. And that's okay. And I think it was about first three or four tosses. She was always the first bird in. That's kind of fun, and you feel kind of good, right? Well, there's my name on the computer. Ahmad got out a little further. He'd be fifth in. She'd be third in. Then she'd be first in. Then she'd be first in. And all the way up. First, first, first. Holy jumping. And I think before the first race, she had like 12 firsts from start to finish in the training. And I knew they did it in groups, but whatever. But the further ones out, when he was out at 50 miles, I said, wow. And, went to the first race and shit. On the first, I think his first race was 100 or 150 miles. I can't remember. Boom, she's first in the clock. And I went, wow, this is incredible, right? Now I'm ecstatic. And then come to the second race, and she bombed 40 minutes, but she come late. And I ended up coming down that year for the first time. And the week we come down, he trained again, and she had a first and she had a third in both his training tosses. And I felt her. I can still remember it on the day of shipping. I took a photo with her. Patty took the photo, and I held her up, and I put her in my hand. In the first 3 seconds, I said, she's going to win this whole thing tomorrow. And I pulled her across the board. And I can still remember I was there, and we watched the first group come. There was a mealy pied hen out in front. Boom, hit the board. And there was like five other birds. I remember having my plate of food, and I got goosebumps still. Couldn't believe it, eh? Start to finish, she was a machine. And what an experience. But what I was saying is, I'm sure you've seen it through years. Trap happy birds, they figure it out, and it's like they either don't want to get bombarded with pigeons, or they figure out what they're gonna. They know how to close. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's amazing. I don't know if it's they don't want to get cramped. They just there's something. They're always in the front. They know where to hit the pad. They know everything, and it's mind-boggling to see that.
Yeah, but that's the benefit of flying a race 1,000 birds less, is that you're going to see consistency in your pigeons a lot more than you would with when you get these huge numbers. Um,
Yeah,
that's that's what we bring up all the time, is where's the sports going? Is it about the sport, or is it about the dollar? I mean, I get it. I love the dollar too. But if you're a real pigeon man, you know, it's all about handling. It's about, the person that just was on there, John. I mean, he's got 10, 15 droppers, and those birds are being trained just as much as the race birds, because especially those boys over there in Florida, I should say those men in Florida, half a second, you're out, done. And again, nobody remembers second. They only remember the guy that's first. So, that's part of the game.
I know it hurts. The second hurts. You're rubbing it in. I know. Don't worry. Sunday we're going to work on the first. But okay, Brian Mansker says, if you are 4 weeks away from your first young bird race of the season, and your first race is 120 miles, how far out? How far would you take them? So his first race, 120 miles. I think he's 4 weeks out. John, how far would you take your birds, your own birds?
I keep going. 120 miles is nothing. So I train them all the way out 120 miles. Some guys will give them a 90 or 100-mile toss 2-3 days before the race. So it's just, that's where, you got to pay attention to the weather. You got to pay attention to what's the weather going to be like, headwinds, tailwinds. There's a lot of factors involved. But if you're going to the race and the race is a shorty like that, you need to train. You can't
Put
back off.
put the work in, and remember, training them in the big groups is great. You're going to feel good. Break those groups down. There's I've done it before. I've been at 100 113 miles single toss and pigeons, but I don't single toss pigeons from that distance. I start them off at 5 miles, 10 miles, 25 miles, 50 miles, and I work them. I work the birds in groups, and don't be afraid to do it. Don't be worried about the pigeons you lose. You're going to lose pigeons. If you train hard, you're going to lose. The ones you lose are the ones they decide to not play the game. So I think 100%, I would have them out to 120 miles, 100 miles, 120 miles. I'd have them out there two or three, four times before the first race. And I'd have a bunch of 50s or 60s. I'd have a whole lot of 25s or 30s in there. And I would just repetition, repetition, repetition. But again, you take what you want out of this. We're just giving you our opinion. There's many ways to bake this cake, and you got to find the way that works for you. My man Craig says, "Do you pull the four middle tail feathers also with the flights?" Do you think, John? You pulling the four middle tail feathers, all the tail feathers, none of the tail
I've,
feathers?
I've done it both ways, but no, when I pull it all. I pull all the tail feathers, and I mean, I'm shutting them down for let me take that back. In years past, I used to shut them down. I don't shut them down now. I mean, I still exercise them, letting them out. They're not flying much, but I do let them out still. But no, I pull the flights and the tail at the same time.
All right, so you hear it. I do want to. We did a video today, okay, and this would be the greatest first drop, John. If you had this for a first drop, you'd have no problems. Everybody would. They wouldn't know what to do. Where? How would you even give the money back? But we're gonna post a video here. This is a video, John. Today you went training again, very short. Birds. Birds, you're waiting for them to come home. They're coming home, and then you call them in. So you guys are going to see. It's about a 45-minute video. You're going to see some of the feed John uses, some of the products he's using. You're going to see it going on. When something comes up, I'll ask, or if you guys have a question, fire it in. And I'm going to take me and John off the screen so you guys see it in full screen, and we will keep the questions coming. Great questions, guys. Steve, I will get to your question here in a second. So let's go to the full screen, and here we go. So, John, these were the birds today. You trained them. What was the story today?
Just a couple miles out, kind of the same routine. I keep them locked out. I just let them play around. I don't force them to fly at this point. I let the hawks chase them up, or some groups are just going to want to stay in the air. It is getting warmer, so some birds, they just want to play around, and that's all I want right now. As we continue to hit them short for the next week or two, they just get better and better, and they understand what's expected of them, and that's all it is just the learning curve. That's all I'm doing right now. All the other stuff, the distance, so that's going to come when the weather cools down, because right now 50 miles from the house it's like 115, and yeah, there's no trying at that point anymore. I just wait till it cools down. But it's gotta warm up for us in the mid 90s. Still, I was hoping that we at least get down to the mid 60s, but it's still going to be in the 70s at 6 o'clock in the morning. So that's one of the reasons why I just keep them short. And my feeling, the more I can go, the more I load them, the more you play with them, the more calm they are, and the more they're what's expected of them. A lot of guys that are racing late, like I'm racing late. I mean, my race isn't until end of November. But at this point, these pigeons, it's a balance of I don't like letting them sit in the loft too long. I don't want them to get dumb on me. So the more I move them, the better chances they have for later. It's just basically trying to develop that homing ability. That's all I'm working on.
And yeah, guys, you're going to see birds coming in here from training again, letting them out in groups. They can come, they can go up, they can go down. They're doing what they want right now. It's basically free time. All the birds are out. And this is a question here. New Flyer says, New Flyer here. Got a question with the exception of having a strong racing pigeon. Do you feed the birds just after training in your one loft race? So you don't feed them before you take them out, do you, John?
No, no, no. I feed them afterwards, and I only feed once a day. Depends. I mean, as we start, when there's some serious work on the birds, when I say serious work, hour and a half plus daily, then of course I might give them extra ration. But right now, this is nothing. This is just, I just keep them comfortable and keep the weight on and basically want to get a good, get them through a good molt. That's all I'm concerned about right now.
How far is John starting to train? You're just a couple miles out still. This is basically just trainer, truck training and just getting them used to everything, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, nothing serious yet. Don't worry. How you see
Well,
John in
that's
Hmm?
that's one of the reasons, like with the training tosses. I know a lot of guys want to see that, but guys, you're watching it. The birds came home half hour ago, 20 minutes ago, and this is it. They're just playing around, and so turn the clock on, and people get excited. I was first in the hole, yeah, it's irrelevant. This is just a learning curve, and it's like that for 4 or 5 weeks until, like I said, till the molt's actually done and weather starts to cool down. These are all the steps that I have to take for where I'm at. Just like I mentioned before, other guys can move them out in a month and be at 90 miles. It takes me a month just to get out 10 miles. I mean, that's the difference. And it's never changed. It's been like that 20 years. And I'm almost embarrassed to say it that I put that many short tosses on them and all that extra work. But on my course, a 10-mile toss can turn into a 600 for a lot of birds on the day because they get confused in those canyons and some pigeons will just keep going and then they're gone. So I really just baby them, educate them, and give them an opportunity to really develop. That's all I'm working on. And even then, you're gonna lose pigeons weekly. It just happens. Some pigeons can't handle it, other pigeons can. And to train daily, it should not hurt them because we're, like I said, there's no serious miles on these birds. It's just routine. That's all I'm doing.
Just routine. You see the birds coming in. You see some of the cocks are acting a little crazy. Everybody's feeling good. This gives you a sense of how the group looks, guys. A question for you, John. Do you? Um, I do. If I leave birds out, even like this, do you ever put drinkers out on the landing board for birds that come back and hey, they want to have a drink, so they don't say learn a bad habit, go to the neighbor's pond and have a drink. Do you ever put drinkers out on the board, or no? You don't do that.
No, I mean I've had bath days, after they come home, and I might let them take a bath. But no, there's everything's inside the lofts. Everything they got to learn that the water's inside.
Okay.
There's no ponds. Well, I shouldn't say that. A couple of miles down the road, there's some people that have lakes and stuff. But no, I don't. Like again, if it was hot, I would call them in right away. But it's not too hot. Plus, I'm trying to get the birds acclimated to the weather as best I can before, I start moving them out this week. A little further. Every baby step's moving them out, and it's going to be warm, and I don't want to stop. So, the more they're exposed to it, the better off they'll be.
Yeah, I agree. And you see, guys, you see John in the corner there. He's mixing the feed. We're going to show that here in a little bit. The products he uses in the feed he is mixing. Um, and you just see the birds happy. They can go up. They're just building confidence and just taking their time. Uh, Hendrik says, I think if you do clocking order, you have to pay the correct amount, whatever that would be, to keep it fair and still competitive. Separate the money smartly to make it fair for the clocking order payout. Okay, yeah. Again, that's it. Every race is different, but we were just talking about it. My man David Tracy. Hey, David, how's it going? How's the flooding going? Hope you're all right. David says, I always believe that a lot of short tosses are very important for the birds. Confidence, 100%. Guys are so in a rush to say, it's like they're measuring their dick and how big is it? How, come on, just take your time, slowly, 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 inch by inch by inch. Take your time. It doesn't matter if you got the canyons or you're in Florida. I would always take my time. If you take your time and you give yourself enough time, you're going to build those pigeons up with great confidence instead of dropping the hammer and going, whoops. Because once you do that, once you let them out, they're not your pigeons anymore. Correct, John?
Oh, 100%. That's the reason why you just keep, you keep drilling them, and they get better and better and better. I mean, uh, people have to remember in an OLR, you have a short window to get those birds ready for the final. When you fly club racing, when they have the derbies, you got to figure it's the derbies usually like the sixth or seventh race, and guys are training 4 or 5 weeks before that. So you got 12 weeks of serious training. So take that to a one loft race. You're not going to be ready in 8 weeks. Doesn't work that way. You got to, I mean, you give them, you really got to build them up, especially if you know you're going to run into a ball buster day. You want to make sure that you're able to find the balance, the repetition, the distance, and yeah, getting the birds fit to compete, to be ready on race day. And, most one-off races, some guys just worry, I just got to get them home. I mean, I've always said it before. I've always been in competition with myself, and it's not easy. It's always been this way for us flying the East Course. And again, I've said it, that why do we fly this direction? Because it's fair to the country, people, Canada as well. You just don't know what kind of day you're going to get, and it has a tendency with crosswinds and headwinds, and that's another reason you start early, is because you want to be ahead of the game, not after.
You know, uh, People watching this, and you hear what John's saying, he's in competition with himself. He doesn't look at this as all my job is to get him home. He's competing with himself. He wants to get the most birds to the first race and the most birds to the second race and the most birds to the final. And he wants as many on a drop as he can. He puts the time and the effort in. You see him mix in there the products, the stuff, everything on the feed. He's putting all this work into these pigeons because he wants a good showing. He wants you guys to have the best opportunity. And when I hear a pigeon guy say, all I got to do is get them home, I mean, it's nothing really. You know what I mean? When I hear that, I'm out. I'm not interested in giving you my pigeons. And that's why I said, this is why this man does such a good job year in and year out. He's giving you 100%. That's why we're here. This is why I'm showing you this, guys. I preached this race since I've been on Facebook and YouTube. I said, this is the race in San Diego. And this is why John's here. Now, people are going to be, John, they could be getting very angry right now. Their birds are in they're on the shrubs. They're picking. They're in the dirt. They're picking. I'm loving this. I'm seeing happy, healthy pigeons. They're watching you mix the feed. This mealy here, he's beautiful. Take a look at him on the ledge here. Is it bothering you that they're having some salad?
No, if it was bad, I would have got rid of those bushes a long time ago. I mean, there's nothing there to hurt the birds. I mean, there's all gravel in front of the loft, and you got a deck in front of the loft, and in reality, these pigeons, they'll pick what they need anyways, even if it's they'll look for minerals. Um, but yeah, this has been done for, like I said, 20 years, so nothing's changed. Nobody's dropped dead on me, knock on wood.
No, but what I say is there's people that say, "Oh, that's bad." Guys, pigeon, if it can fly 300 miles, do you think it's going to go on that ground and pick the bad stuff? No, it is not going to. You don't have to worry so much. But you just see here the health of these pigeons. They're playing, and again, you see it in the shadows there in the sky. Birds are going up, birds are going down. You're going to see when John calls them in. You're going to see here shortly the feed, and this is what I like to see. Eric, okay, you talk about it, John. What is this?
It's a product by Bayer's. It's a probiotic.
Okay, and How do you put it on the feed?
You could use it with oil. In this case, I use it with an amino acid that they actually also sell, and I just use it just to give them an extra boost with the road training and for the conditioning. That's all. This is more for the gut. So it's just something that I've used two or three different products from Bayer's, and it's good stuff. And yeah, it's just a supplement.
All right, and a product like this, how often are you using it?
This will go for 2 days. That thing there, I'll probably finish it in one day. So yeah, it's $30 just for one of those, 25, $30.
Yeah, so you use, yeah, well, for the amount of birds, but you're going to use that 2 days, and I'll continue the plan here, guys. So that's one product, and we'll show the other product here or in a moment. There it
It's
is
just
there.
that's just an aminos and vitamins, and it's actually you're actually using it more for when you're racing for recovery. Um, but right now, I still have quite a few younger birds that are heavy in the molt, and it's just something that it's just a supplement to keep them strong. Um, can't go wrong. The more you can do for the birds when they're molting, they're still stressed. They're still, they're not feeling their best. Um, but again, as young pigeons, you got to work through it. You got to move forward because there's a percentage of birds molting heavy, but there's another percentage of birds that are ready to go. So that's the challenge of a one loft race. You can't cater to the ones that come in late, and you can't cater to the ones that always come in early. You got to find the balance.
All right. So there, you guys see the two products, and again, with a few thousand pigeons, you're going to go through these products. You got to get it on the feed to use it, guys. So hey, he's using it, and we're going to show here the feed here in moments. David Tracy says, John, once you start road training, like real road training, do you stop loft flying?
Oh, yes. Yeah, no, the birds, once we get out already 15 miles, 12, 15 miles, I mean, at that point for me, I got pigeons flying a half hour, 40 minutes because they're learning the course. And when I get to that point and the weather cools down a little bit, these pigeons won't come down. They'll be flying. So, then I'm doing my best to get them in, because what happens is when these birds start feeling good and you start using, different supplements like what I just showed you, this is a clear day, but I get a cloudy day, and it's cool. And when I say cool, we're in the mid 60s, and you got a little bit of a 5, 10 mile, 15-mile breeze. They're going to fly. And then when I say fly, they'll fly 5, 6 hours. And it's a pain in the ass because you got to, you'll have 150, 200 birds just ranging and going, and they don't want to stop. And it's fantastic. But, again, there's nothing to gain when they're flying that long. It looks cool, but guys think, and the guys that race, they know so many times, oh, my birds are flying 2 hours. That stuff's all irrelevant. The most important right now is just to get the birds through a good molt, and what I'm doing is just making them happy, taking the stress off of loading every day and doing bothering them. I'm not letting them be pigeons. I'm they know their job. That's what I'm teaching them basically every day.
No, I like everything you're saying, John. Guys, if you have questions, don't be shy. Now is your time to ask. John Timmerman here, California Classic Royal Cup. We're looking today at the California Classic Loft. Birds came back from training. Sorry about this. John's learning how to film here. He just wants to see if you guys get a little bit of seasickness. Again, throw your complaints at John for that one, but we get it back. We get it straightened out. Donahue Racing Pigeon says, hello from Arizona. Just signed in. Hey, how's it going? Ah, What was I going to say now? So, David Tracy, once those birds, again, as John says, once they're starting to train, just stick to the training. I mean, the odd time you want to let them loft fly, I just like to focus on up, home, in, and I like to drive it in and start, stop. And I almost sometimes I get annoyed with loft flying. It looks good, but they don't fly the same clip. They never fly at the same pace as they do training or road work. They never do loft flying because they're dipping and diving and they go with the wind and then they come back and they do that gliding shit and all that. Looks good, makes you feel good. But it's, to me, I don't think it's building that super condition like you will with the training. And hey, John, you are right. These birds, so these birds here, they start what every morning at what time? What time is their morning start for these guys?
I switched it up. Usually I used to grab these guys first, but now we're grabbing the Royal first, and we usually start at 5 o'clock with the Royal. The Royal Cup, the loading, I mean, we're loaded in 20 minutes and it's quick. These guys
Oh,
here, we got to transport the trailer over to this side. We kick on the lights. An hour and 15 minutes, they're loaded.
and then when you start taking them down the road, so these birds here today, what time would you have started letting them out?
Again, in previous days or previous years, I always cut them out when the sun's just coming up. But now, things that I've learned, it's better to get a full sun, especially, with the mountains. But again, it's a question of how hot it's going to get, how quickly. Again, we were 70 degrees this morning, and it gets, 80 degrees was there at 9 o'clock. But we will have those days where, it's going to be 90 degrees at 8 o'clock. And when it's days like that, then, I'll probably won't train because there's more to hurt the birds than the positives. That's why I start early just to, get a base on the pigeons. That's all I'm working on right now is just getting a base, letting them develop, working on the feathering, working on trapping, working on them responding, working on, not getting spooked, all that stuff. All that stuff that's going to happen on race day that you don't want to happen. You try to go through these errors now, throwing a ball, making loud noises. Because again, you got to figure from that landing board 35, 40 feet out, there's a couple hundred people watching these birds. And right now, nobody, there's nobody, there's no crowd. But when you have that in 4 or 5, what is it, August, September, October, 4 months from now, and you got 200 people in your backyard, 250 people screaming, yelling, talking, you got to have control of that flock.
Oh, that's right. There's you guys got to think when all the people are there. That's when the the prize money's on the line. That's the pressure right there. And this is why, again, I say I like a loft. Think about it, John. You're not racing until the middle of November, right?
That's right.
We're in August, and you're playing.
Yeah.
You're putting in. It's extra work. And I'm sure you could say, oh, I could squeak by. If I really pinch it, I could start them in October. But if you cut the corners with these pigeons, you're going to pay for it in the end. And I've been
100%. I mean, I've had pigeons. That's why I try to get the birds in. You don't want to be the first one in the loft, but you don't want to be the last one. But, I get it. There's so many races now, and guys are sending pigeons to Florida Derby, or they're flying them to Hoosier, and they're getting them in early. And, technically those guys are going to start early with training, but that doesn't always happen. And, well, I am going to train. I'm telling you, I am going to train middle of August. So there's pigeons here that are just a few months old. Some can handle it, some cannot. And if, you get pigeons that are only 3 months old, they're still going to go through the fundamentals of young pigeons. And you hope not. And when I say that, it could be a Dino, it could be they're still susceptible to a lot of these things, especially when you start stressing with the training or cutting the feed a little bit or changing the feed a little bit. It's not what a 3-month-old pigeon should go through, but sometimes it works. sometimes it's just, I don't even know. Sometimes a good pigeon is just a good pigeon. That's what I've, that's what my conclusion is, because you do have younger birds that can handle the stress, and there's, of course, there's older pigeons that can handle it, but there's older pigeons, you give them everything and they're lost at 2 miles. So it just comes down to the quality of the bird, what they can handle.
And guys, just take a look at the picture here in front of you. There is a winner here. Okay, there's a winner at the 300 miles. There's a winner at the second win, the 350. There is a winner in this group, but there's only one that's the actual first prize winner, and he's here. He's right here, and that's the competition you're up against. You know, it's remarkable to think this, eh, John? The winner could be right in front of us, and we don't even know yet, and only time will tell. And that's why these birds got to build and build and build and build. And I say to you guys, yes, there are tons of one loft races in America. There's a few in Canada, but all around the world. Do your homework on where you're going. It's not always about prize money. It's about the guy that's going to give you his very best. He's going to take those pigeons, respect them, play them like his own, and give you his very best. And if you can find those races, well, hey, you're gonna find your breeders this way. You're gonna find it. You see here, as we're gonna show this feed momentarily. Donahue says, "Great OLR, glad to be in both races." Well, thank you for participating. I like the way you take your time
Thank you.
at this point, John. He likes the way you take your time.
Thank you.
Hey, question, John. Where did you learn this patience?
No, that, to be honest, I learned from my father. I mean, my dad was always the first one. I mean, when it comes to pigeons, he was old school, and you got to let even these pigeons that don't win. You let them sit for 6 months, they'll be totally different type of pigeons, and you learn that through club racing. Pigeons that, especially late hatches. I mean, you have one that flies lights out, and the following year that bird doesn't do anything, and you got another pigeon that's just average, and it turns out to be a superstar the following year, and just gets better and better. There's other pigeons takes 2 years for it to really to shine, and that's where guys need to know their families of pigeons, what to expect. We're young pigeons in general. I mean, we have we have such a high expectation, for these birds to win. But again, if they survive, if they go, especially again, if they through my backyard, if they're there at the end, they're good pigeons, because we're in August and we're going to go all the way to November. This is what happens 6 days a week. Every day there's something going on with the pigeons every day. So that's what separates me from a lot of other guys. I mean, I know there's a lot of the bigger races, these guys are working their pigeons and whatnot, but I'm already in the game. I'm already in the mode. I'm already, I'm not saying I'm ahead of the game, but my pigeons, if I lived in their backyard, my pigeons would already be at 50 miles. And because they're ready. Young pigeons you can't sit on. You can let them sit too long, they're just going to get stale on you. And, in California in general, you talk, all the guys that have flown on top, maybe again, like, my friend Juan Gomez, or you take my friend John Stevens that moved to Florida, he'll tell you, they don't start late. They stay ahead of the program. Those guys that flew in Compton Club years ago that were on the top, Juan Sepulveda, they didn't wait. There was no, start 3 weeks before the race. No, they're starting 6 weeks before the program. And when they start 6 weeks, 5-6 weeks before, those birds were molted out. They were, dark system, light system. And that's what you do. I mean, that's where I learned it, from a childhood age into getting to know the best of the best, and bouncing things off one another. And that's what's giving me my edge. I mean, to be honest, my friend John in Florida there is he's a fantastic mentor. I mean, when a man leaves, California to move to Florida to be racing 2-3 days a week, he's a pigeon man. He's not there. He's not there to play cards. He's there to race, and that's what he's done since he's been there. And so uh, systems are different because of environment, but the practical part of the sport is, the training behind it is still the same. Even though he'll tell you in Florida they can start a little later. It's flat. It's easy. California is not like that. And it's not just for me. I'm not saying it because I fly east. I'm talking about even the guys that are up north. They got to start early, and they pay the price because it's warm, and but they got to get they know they got to get the birds ready for their derbies.
All right.
So
Donahue Racing Pigeons. His question was, John, I've been waiting to ask, what are you feeding? And I just paused the camera here just so you guys can take a look. I'll let John talk about it. I'll let John, talk about everything that you see in there in case you don't see, it's a little bit hard to see. Okay, John, go ahead. You're the chef.
Well, this mix here is, I mean, I added a few things to it, but it was actually a copycat of one of the top flyers that flew in Orange County that I just mentioned, Juan Sepulveda. This is more or less a mix that's easy digestible. It's weight for weight. You take a 50-pound bag of regular feed, 50-pound bag of this. It's lighter. It's a light mix, and it's easy for the birds to digest. It's high in fat. It's got the right carbs, lower in protein, and it's, to get the pigeons really to fly, it's fantastic. So I just switched to this mix just a few days ago. I do like the sunflower seeds in it, and of course the whole corn. And it's just it's something that I use as a base in later when I go to my when I change up the feed.
It's not a bad mix. You see the fat in it. Lots of safflower there. I can see hemp seed in there. Is there a little bit of wheat in there as well?
A little bit,
Yeah, a little bit of barley.
yes,
Okay, looks like there's some white Milo, if I'm right, or Capricorn,
yes, yeah.
either or. But again, the black sunflower seeds, nice as well. There's a lot of fat in this mix. You run your fingers through it, it's going to make your hands oily. This is an oil, nice. It's a nice mix.
We'll put it this way: the guys in Compton Club, if they would study it and they could count seed for seed, they'd be happy campers because Juan is one that he dominates. When he races, he dominates. And I mean, that's no bullshit. Those are just facts. And he's more or less retired now with the racing, but one of the best. And I was very fortunate to utilize this mix, and that's what I've been using throughout the training, throughout the baby steps. Now, like again, when I start going in, when I really start moving out in distance, or I know I'm going to run into a harder fly, a longer day, then I'll change it up and add to the mix.
Yeah, but I mean, hey, there's a lot, and this is easy to digest. I like that little bit of corn in there. How do you find? And I'm going to throw this out there. If the birds, I know some people that don't use the black sunflowers with the sunflower seeds, with the shells on them. If you find your birds aren't eating them, like when you put it in, when you first add it in, you leave it with them. You make sure they clean it up. How is that working? Or what's your plan on this? Because sometimes when you add something new, like if you add peanuts for the first time, they'll look at you like, "What is this?" And you're going, "Come on, do you not like donuts? You're gonna love donuts. Just try one." You got to sometimes back the feed off so they'll try it. Do you find that with the black sunflowers?
Oh yeah, even with the whole corn. But that's where it comes into how you train your birds. I mean, if they're coming to you to eat, well, they're going to eat. They're going to eat. They'll eat dog food if you want. If you want them to eat. And I'm not saying that as a bullshit statement. Some guys do feed dog food. I've tried dog food years ago. There's a lot in it, but the birds will get too dark, so I stay away from it. But something like this, it's just a light mix, and No, it's basically to get my pigeons to fly, hour and a half, no problem, which they'll do here shortly. Um, High in fat, low in protein.
Yeah, and again, the birds can build on this. They work on this, and the great thing is he's feeding this. The pigeons build up the fat reserve. If he had a toss where John, oops, 150 went the wrong way, and they're around the canyon, they go to 2 hours, 3 hours on the wing. That fat reserve helps them get back. And you're putting it into them. You start building that now, and that's what's in this feed. Very good. I'm going to play the clip. Hopefully, Donahue, uh, this as well. When John, when you switch up the feed again next time, we'll do another video. When you do one, just the same way. I think it's the best way to show it because we just stop the clip and people can see it. Uh, Teal Family Loft says, or Derek Teal says, "Good evening, guys. Congratulations, Ryan, and your Belgium results." Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate that. And David Tracy says, "John, do you ever give them peanuts?"
Um, you know, the sunflower seeds has just as much fat. Of course, peanuts is better. If I do, I'll crush it. But I try to, I got to be careful with that because they'll get rancid on me. So uh, my other mix is very high in fat. So I I don't need to use it. Put it that way. Not to say I wouldn't, but I don't. You know, when you have 25, 50 pigeons, you could work with peanuts. But when you start working with a couple thousand birds, how many bags you got to buy, how many bags are going to be sitting. Yeah, that's, you got to be careful.
Yeah, I agree. And there you see exactly what Johnny T is putting on the feed. And I'm going to ask, I'm assuming, John, whatever you do for the Royal Cup or the California Classic, you're on the same. Like today, they're both getting the same, correct?
Everybody's the same.
Keep it simple.
No,
Keep it
there,
simple.
I don't have any spies at the moment working for me, so everything is the same.
Okay. No. Just like how I don't know, one loss getting that, one you're off days, but it's nice when you keep everything the same. So you guys know what they're getting in both the races. There you go. Spell it out in black and white for you. And again, guys, you can feed peanuts, but again, look at all the other fat seeds. You want to give them the fats and that sneaky mix, some corn, uh, but lay off from the peas. Lay off it. You don't, no
Now
peas. No.
I did have them on a mix with peas just up until a week ago, just because it had so much more for the molt. But that's the reason I'm changing it up now, because now we're getting into race mode. I mean, three-quarters of the birds are done with the molt, 100%. Um, so it's finding that balance.
Yeah, and you got to use your peas in its place, or those proteins when it's that time to use them. Now's the time to let's get rolling. Great mix. Donahue says that feed looks like a great mixture. Thank you for showing it and describing it. You're very welcome. Now you know what your birds are eating. I'm getting hungry now. I was looking at it, man. It looks good. And you guys are going to see here. John is going to call them in now. We did calling them in. John's phone died at about the 45th minute, but we still got some time. He's not going to bring them in yet. You just see them doing their thing, and you can see in the shadow birds going up, birds going down. These aren't birds coming back from training. These are birds that are going up for flies, right?
Correct. Yeah,
Correct.
they've been home for about a half hour, so they're just playing around. And um, again, it's not so much uh, a 2 mile toss being home in 5 minutes. No, I don't want that. I want them out. I just keep them locked out, let them play around.
John, in your area there where the lofts are there other lofts like guys that have their own race birds that race in that area, or is that sort of a
It
quieter area?
within my valley, no. But if we go like 10 miles to the west, more in the city, yes. There's different lofts there. Even guys with fancy birds and guys that don't race, and yeah, I mean, I hear the stories. They trap birds because a lot of times when these pigeons overshoot, being at this elevation and go into the city, most of the time they don't turn around and come back. They're unfamiliar, and they don't, they're closer to the city, closer to the water. You would think, it's only 20 minutes, 25 minutes to turn around and come back, but they don't. Um, and so a lot of times, these guys that are new or don't have pigeons, they see these birds and they're intrigued and they know they're healthy, and they know the California Classic gets top pigeons, so you don't get them back. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Now, do you find, I mean, this is a question people probably like to know, but do you find you get a lot of calls for with missing like pigeons from your race, the Royal Cup, or do you find that, or you don't get a lot of calls?
No, I mean, I will get some calls for there. I mean, there's a few guys in the club from the club that are very ethical, and they'll call and say, "Hey, I got this bird," and yeah, so that's that works out great. But again, there's going to be a couple hundred pigeons here lost in the next month. I mean, that's just how it is until they figure it out. And once we're out 40, 50 miles, and we got distance, and then we don't, then everything's pretty much dialed in. But the first 20 miles for me it's critical. And that's why I spend the time and whatever supplements to keep the bird strong, because a 5 mile or a 10 mile fly over here turns into a 2-3 hour day, or can turn into a 2-3 hour day. And it's just nothing you can do. Pigeons have to learn, and in the end, it's the ones that are smart and strong, they make it.
All right. My friend Michael Peevler, he says the way John is feeding and training the one loft birds, is this the same way for his own personal race team?
Yes,
The same kind of mix, pretty much.
yes.
The
Again,
same.
that's one of the reasons I do race, because there's always different supplements or different ideas that I will apply to my own small team, and I'm able to see, hands on what it does. You know, if the bird's coming, big drops, or if they can't handle it. I mean, I know it firsthand.
All right. Question, John. Now, for people wondering, okay, you see these birds out now, they're doing their thing. Your own personal pigeons that you're racing in your combine, you don't race them as young birds, correct?
Correct. In San Diego, because of the heat, we stopped racing young birds. We just race. Our season starts in 1st of March. And I mean, in fact, I'm still breeding. In fact, I had a few pigeons come in from a friend, a few friends, just to have in my backyard to fly. I usually breed about 130 birds for myself. And I will work with those uh, middle of December. I'll start training. So I go right from finishing these to over there to being in competition with my club.
And you'll start training your own young birds what time of year?
Middle of
Or
December.
your old birds, in the middle of December, you start training them.
Yeah, I mean they go out like now just once a week, twice a week. It's the same process. Those pigeons are a lot younger. Well, like I said, they're right there. Some of them are just in the nest right now. Some of them are just hatching. So it's real late hatches that I'll compete with. Now, I did have 10, probably 10 to 20 that are roll over as old birds into the season, which makes it easy. But predominantly in San Diego, the guys are all flying late hatches as old birds.
Right. And this is another thing I like. John, I'm going to say this. I like it that this race isn't conflicting with your own season.
No.
Like your focus, John's focus is this. I see guys running one loft races and they've got 800 birds or 500 birds or 1,500 birds, and they got their own birds that they're putting on the combine trucks. See a guy out in Australia, he's doing it. And I'm going, how do you have the time, sir? You've got 1,500 pigeons and you're flying in a combine with your own 200 pigeons. What are you? You know, what are you doing here? Focus on this is the big priority, correct, John?
This is the priority. This is the priority because that's the prestige of running a race. Especially we talk about people that have been in the sport, have been in this race 25 years, been in San Diego 40 years. Now there's not many of those guys left. But that's what has made it worthwhile, especially when their pigeons do well or when they get them back and they see for themselves, how the pigeons look. And that goes for me, that goes for the San Diego Classic, those pigeons that do come home, and the people are 9 out of 10 times are very happy with their pigeons. Now, mind you, when the birds are shipped back in December, I mean, we're still sometimes dealing with warm weather, so the birds are on a different diet versus somebody who's back east and it's 20 degrees. So their pigeons are going to be way heavy, and the pigeons from here, they're still on a light mix. And guys don't understand that sometimes. Why are the pigeons light? Well, we fly different atmospheric conditions. I mean, that's just how it is. It's just like, and I've talked about it with my friend John. I mean, you get into all these race mixes that may it be Verslaga, may it be Bayers, may it be 80. Now, 80 is a good feed. But these other mixes, they're heavy. They're useless for the guys in California. They're useless for the guys in Florida. They're too heavy. And, maybe now it will change with the weather in Europe being 90 plus every day. That will change. But those heavy mixes, they're not helping the birds out, put it that way.
No, the mixes are light. I mean, the sneaky mix is one of the most important mixes there. I know I'm using it. I think it's great. The the fat mix and just like the speed ultra, they're not heavy, not super heavy, quick digestion, easy to go in, easy to suck the get everything out of that feed. That's what I've noticed being in Europe. And you see here now, John, you're going to start calling these birds in, right?
Correct.
And you guys, we're not playing the whistle now. You're blowing a whistle. It's a whistle. It's a whistle. It's a whistle. I know I would like to play it, but we're talking. So just imagine the whistle being blown for the next, oh shit. I'm going to say, what here? Probably 12, 14 minutes as the birds come in. So, John, take it from here.
No, it's just basically, again, it's just doing things that are abnormal, right? Shaking a stick, throwing a ball, whatever, so the birds kind of, yeah, they're spooked, but they got to get used to it. I don't want them, there is no trying to be gun shy. They got to, the more things they could get used to, the better off they're going to be, calm. Because when it really counts, hawk flying through the, you got to be able to calm them down. And you want the birds just to, yeah, that's what you say, working with the birds.
Right now, just a question, and I don't know if this was true. I heard that Ron Steinbrenner, he used to. I don't know. I heard this. I can't remember how long ago, but it was a while ago when I was there. That he sometimes would bring would get kids from the local school, like go to the school and ask the kids. The class wanted to come over and watch the birds come from a trainer. Was that true?
That I don't know. I mean,
Do you
I
ever
think
bring Do
any,
you ever bring
I think
people in to do it?
I think any adult bringing a young kid to watch your birds is kind of a spooky deal right there. But no, I've never heard that
No,
one.
I don't mean like no soliciting kids. I mean like going to the school. Like John, you go to a school nearby and say to the school,
Yeah,
"Hey,
yeah, no, I
you guys
got you.
want
No,
to see?" You know,
no, Ron, you know, Ron was a firm believer of always flying the pigeons in the afternoon, and I mean, he would train early, right? Actually, he would always train around 9, 10 o'clock. Um, he always waited for the sun to be up because, you'll see later when we start getting out 40, 50 miles, if you're up there too early, that sun on that high will blind you. So he just, as a rule, always left a little later. Um, but when Ron, when he was at the club, or I should say the property adjacent to the club, there was always people, back in the day, there was so many retired guys that flew out of San Diego, and they just loved this. Now in the San Diego club itself, it's very seldom does a mod get a following of people, because it's changed. But in the years ago, these guys, man, I mean that was the hot topic. Guys were looking, they're looking forward for the week of San Diego. Just the friendships and the excitement of the races didn't, because we all had a different style, but still in the end the good pigeons would come. And we've seen that. Ron was a fantastic handler, especially, he was a man that loved the distance. He loved the fives and the sixes. He had a famous pigeon back in the early 90s, Secretariat, that I believe in two fives and a six, I believe it was, three long ones. He had that pigeon, was an ace and ace, over the United States. And that's when there was twice as many flyers as there is today. Or maybe even more within the organizations. All the organizations have shrunk. But, there was always, as a young person myself, I mean, that's what always drew me to San Diego. It wasn't like the FEC where those guys flew for money. And believe you me, that was a blast over there too. But San Diego was always about the prestige. These guys were always about, wanted to dominate. And then you take someone like Ahmad. I mean, this man, he just lives for the pigeons. No money. He just loves the sport. He just doesn't just, it gets in his blood, and he's always got a story. And, that's what makes it special.
Well said, John. A question here. Here's a question. Do you handle the birds to feel them out? So how often
Um,
are you handling these birds, or what's your...
Yeah, there's always pigeons that I'll handle. You go through a section, you want to look. I'm always checking the feathering, but I don't go through all the birds. I don't know who the birds are. I don't want to know who the birds are. We will do it. We did a chip check, and I got to do another chip check, but I'll do that when we're shut down for the day because of bad weather. Then I'll take advantage of that and go through the birds. But going through various sections, just grabbing a bird here, grabbing a bird there. I'm not necessarily looking for the good ones. I'm looking at the ones that might be hunched up, and that's when they get isolated or pulled out. They'll tell you, and a lot of times, there's no reason for any birds to fold. If they do, then they're just weaker birds, and there's nothing you can do about it. You'd be surprised when you're crating these birds up every day, and these guys are loaded up quickly. It's not like in the past where I had to load them up the night before or load them up at midnight, and it was a process because back then, I didn't have a trailer where I could just run them through a chute. Back in the day, I would have to crate them up individually, and so that was a heavier toll. Pigeon racing now it's modified. It's become easier for the handler and also for the birds.
Yeah. And you guys see here the birds, they're not starved. You call them in, they're coming in. Look at how many birds are out there. Not many. But you see how they're coming in. They're feeling real good. No open wings, no nothing. Birds look good. Look at the cocks there on the decking, feeling good. And you can see the health. You see when you see that dipping and diving. For people that don't know, look at the right part of your screen. Those birds coming over and they're twizzling and they're feeling good. It's telling you don't have to handle them. You can see it in the birds. You see by their language they're speaking to you. And I always say sometimes the best thing is, guys, is just sit back and look. And you're watching someone else's pigeons, but this is a lot of pigeons. There's a lot of work that goes into this to keep this group healthy. And you're seeing it right here. Great job, John. Really good job.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, but back to the gentleman that asked the question, if I handle them, with the type of program that I'm on, the birds will all handle the same. Condition, weight wise, even, all these birds, the loft, it extends another 60 feet to the left. You just don't see that. And it goes 20 feet deep. You don't see that. So these birds, when we call them in, I mean, I have a hallway, and then we just load the birds up per section. And when we go to feed, we got like 4 or 5 feeders per section, and we know exactly, if we need to add a few birds to the section, we just open the door and accommodate that section. So the birds are all on the same weight ration of feed. Occasionally we'll feed a little bit more and whatnot, but it's it's all, you're pretty much, you're feeding an ounce of bird, little more, especially when they're molting. But when we do that, just to get control of the flock.
Yeah, you got to have control over this, but you can just see it in the conditioning in the pigeons already, and they're responding. And again, guys, you see that mix. He doesn't have them backed right off, so they're feeling good. They're responding good. As they get better and better and better, they'll get tighter and tighter and tighter, and then one of these days we'll put it on, John, and you'll blow the whistle and it'll be over.
Oh, well, that, yeah, 100%. I mean, they'll be, yeah, I mean, that can happen overnight. But again, the birds are still molting, so I don't want them there. I just want them, they got to be light. They got to be, they got to be willing to be hungry, but it's finding that balance, because you're not just looking at the best ones, you're looking at the smaller ones, giving them an opportunity to develop.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, this is what we're talking about. This is why we do this every Wednesday, so you guys get a feel. This is different than any message board. This is live. So if you're participating in this race, or you want to participate in the California Classic or the Royal Cup, you have the Loft manager right here. He's the man. You can talk to him exactly what's going on. You can corner him. You can ask him. And this is why we're doing it. I think it blows the message board away. I know people don't have the time to sit down and spend an hour and an hour and a half, but hey, it's a great opportunity to get to know the man who is playing with your pigeons and what he's thinking. And again, you don't have to agree with everything, but it's just another way of looking at it. And John, we've been on here for pretty much an hour and a half now, coming up to an hour and 25 minutes. Another great show. So this week is going to continue a lot of the same, right?
Yeah, it's just if the days are good, we'll start moving them out further in distance. If the heat still is extended, then yeah, we'll still train, but I won't be moving them. I mean, or I'll keep them in my valley until because when I have to go into another valley, that's when things start getting a little bit more hectic. I mean, it's not to say that they can't do it, but there's always going to be a big group that makes a mistake, and I don't want to go through that, or I'm trying not to go through that. But it's inevitable. It's going to happen sooner than later. But I'd rather have a day where the temperature is, in the 60s or mid 60s or 70s, not the 90s.
Yeah. And guys, he's given himself the time. He's told you. Remember, we will tell you what we do. It's up to you. You can pick what you want out of this. But I will say, John and me, two things we do exactly the same. We give ourselves more than enough time. More than enough time. If you give yourself time, those birds are going to benefit from it. But hey, 6 weeks before the first race, you should already be 6 weeks ahead of that. Give yourself enough time so you can go at a good pace. You can watch the birds build slowly, put the time in, and you're going to get the results. And John, again, I love what you're doing. I love that you're showing it. You're talking to the people, and guys, this is why I say one of the best races in the world, year in, year out. All right, John, I think the questions have quieted down. So I think we can wrap this one up, put it in the books. We're going to be on again next Wednesday. We'll come up with some more videos for you guys and hey, go from there. Anything else you want to say?
No, good luck with your next race. I got to make sure that we got to make sure that Hendrick picked him right, because he's a boor.
I don't know what Hendrick picked, but you gotta pick one bird from each group, each bracket, an A bracket, a B bracket, a C bracket, and a D bracket. So you couldn't cherry pick all the top pigeons because it's all based on points. So you got to pick one from the good ones, one from the middle group.
Well, what I've known about Hendrick, I mean, he's precise. I mean, he loves to read and he's very knowledgeable. So we'll see. If he didn't, right, this is going to be hanging over his head for fucking a long time.
Oh, the jar goes up up $25. Okay, John, great show. Enjoy the rest of your evening, guys. Thanks for your participation. You guys made it good tonight. Next week we want more questions. Again, we have the Chase CH one more week. Teal, get your team in there. Guys, if you have participated, get your team in there. Donahue Pigeons, get your team in there. Guys, we're helping Marcel Kurlemans out, the man, the myth, the legend, the professor, we call him. Please, guys, help him out. We're rebuilding his loft. Someone burned it down. We don't know who. Still waiting to hear from insurance. We're going to talk about that on Monday's show. John, good luck with the rest of the week. Enjoy the weather in California. It still looks beautiful. And good luck in your training. And hopefully next week we're still feeling good.
All right, Ryan. Thanks, buddy.
Hey,
Take care. Have a good
thank you
evening.
very much, guys. We'll talk to you next week. Like, share, and subscribe, guys. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now. Just like that, show comes to an end. All right, guys, we'll see you next Wednesday.